Nothing. I was just talking about Hell Baby. If I was to have a kid, I wish it was Hell Baby.
Damn it. That's for scary things.
Can we adopt Hell Baby? Baby with horns?
You don't want to.
Well, they never really said he wasn't eating them, was he? Was he biting people?
He was. I think so. Yeah.
But he can be trained. He's just a baby. He doesn't know any better. He's probably just trying to find the
Well, he's going to become hell toddler, hell teen. Fuck, why don't they just keep making movies?
When he's older?
Yeah. Hey Weirdos, welcome back to another episode of Weird Together, Halloween edition.
I just realized that you probably should have worn your devil horns that you wore at Pumpkins After Dark.
Crap, you're right.
Damn it, that would have been good.
I don't know if I can do the devil horns and wear headphones at the same time.
We need headphones like the cat headphones that are devils.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
right. We should have special headphones for Halloween time.
We should. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Welcome to today's episode. It is 31 Days of Horror.
You can never say that right.
Horror.
When I do a hashtag 31 Days of Horror, I have to do that. Emphasize the
Also, did I say 31 or 21?
You probably said 21.
Probably, because I'm an idiot.
Rewind.
Sponsored by Century 21.
No.
Are they still in business?
Probably.
Sweet Blazers.
Is it just an American business?
I think it was in Canada. You know what? Somebody else took over. Let's get into it. This is going to be part one, where we are going to do the first 15 days of October and all of the movies that we watched. Now, warning, there's going to be spoilers.
Yeah. If we mention a movie, we'll mention the movie at the beginning. And if it's a movie that you don't want spoiled, then just skip to the next one. I'm pretty sure you'll probably chapter it.
Exactly.
So you can just skip to the next one if you don't want to hear anything. Well, we probably will talk about stuff.
There's going to be some movies that we're going to spoil just outright. Other movies.
Some it's so good that I may not spoil it because I feel like it's just too good.
It's too good.
Yeah.
You don't want to spoil.
Yeah.
Don't spoil that or everything anyways. Mm-hmm. So, let's get right into it. We're going to start with our first movie, which was day one, which was Imaginary.
Yes.
Imaginary.
So, first of all, it's a cute little poster. The poster already looks freaky. Like that's what drew me in.
And that's about where the movie ends. Poster's fantastic. The movie, not so great.
Yeah.
This is a horror mystery. This is about a girl named Jessica, or I should say a woman named Jessica, who moves back into her childhood home. Mm-hmm. She's got a new family. She's married a man that has 2 kids. So there's a teen and then a younger daughter. And then the younger daughter, Alice, finds a bear in the house named Chansey. And which is a great name, I gotta say, for both a bear and a bear killer.
Or your next dog.
Chansey. Yeah. And basically things start to happen in the house. It's really a story about imaginary friends. It's a great concept, but ultimately there's a lot of things in this movie that I don't think neither of us really liked. I mean, do you have anything positive to say about Imaginary?
I wanted to say what they should have done in this movie is Jessica's childhood story they kind of flash back on towards the end should have been the movie, not her marrying to someone else, because that would have been a better story. Then she probably wouldn't have been able to star in this. But
don't worry,
she could have played the mom,
because they'll probably make a prequel and it'll be about that.
That story looked better to me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because like the dad went inside the demon world and sacrificed himself to save his family, or save his mom's already dead.
Yes.
So sacrifice to save her. Mm-hmm. So leaving her parentless. And I'm not sure if he needed to sacrifice her. He just needed to erase the wall. Erase the door.
Yeah, but he was pretty traumatized by it. So like when we meet the dad character, he's in like a home and he's kind of not catatonic, but he's really kind of disassociated.
I think he was more about whatever was in there got into him. Like he's got it in his body, like a demon is in there, but not really. Just something in there, like more than traumatize him. Something is like living in him.
And it's just not that I don't know, the performances aren't that great. The husband in this movie, so Jessica's husband is there at the beginning, and he's sort of a character that's like not even needed. And the only reason he's there is so that we can establish that he's got 2 daughters, that this is a new family, and that he has to leave.
He got married so this new woman will take care of his kids while he leaves all the time. Yeah. That's basically what he's done.
There was some scary kind of things. There were some uncomfortable things. There was the
bear turning his head randomly, just stuff like that. It had potential, but it was I would say the first 45 minutes, and even the part that I thought was creepy in the trailer, which the little girl, Chansey was making little girl put her hand on a nail, like
through a nail.
Yeah. You know, Jesus herself. And and that didn't actually happen. Like, Jessica stopped her from doing it.
Right.
She, like, slightly cut herself.
Right.
I was like, well, that didn't happen. And they made it sound like it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of tough to do hurting kids in movies anyway.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't want to do that. It just was the new movie this year, I think.
It was 2024.
It was just...
And it's a Blumhouse movie. Like, there's all of these things
that
make
all
it
things
good,
would
like,
equal a good movie.
The trailer looked too good.
It's almost like they just bought the movie from somebody and put Blumhouse's name on it.
They're a studio now. They don't... Okay. Jason Blumhouse...
Well, that's what they've done, and someone knows someone and let it slide.
Yeah, and who knows? Again, great concept, just maybe poorly executed. None of the actors in this movie are very strong. Like, not enough to really carry the movie.
It was such bad acting. It was like they showed up day of and learned the lines that day. Like, it kind of feels like they're just in it for the money. It could have been better, but I hope they don't decide to invest in more of these movies, because I don't think they're any good.
It depends. I mean, I don't know if this movie made money or not, but anyways, at the end of the day, I gave this movie 2 jack-o'-lanterns.
You gave it 2?
Out of 5.
I'm shocked, because I gave it 1 jack-o'-lantern.
Wow.
1 creepy jack-o'-lantern.
I think I like the concept enough that's why I don't know. I'm fine with my score.
Sure? Think about the rest of the movies we watched and where that falls. I mean, you can give them 2.
In the moment, day number 1, it was a bit of a letdown. We should also point out.
Are you sure it deserves 2 because you napped?
Not only did we nap, we actually started this movie on the first day. We started late in the evening. We stopped because
you napped both times.
Scotty has to go to bed.
You napped both times.
Did I really?
Yes,
fall
you did.
asleep both times?
And you still gave it 2.
So we didn't even finish this movie until like the weekend, and we were like, well, the movie's sort of okay, and we jumped onto day 2's movie.
I didn't want to go back and finish it, but I had to follow through because that's what I do.
That's the assignment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like going to listen to a lecture. I can't even sit through lectures, to be honest.
I'm generous enough that I'm going to give it 2, and then I'm going to move on, and I'm never going to discuss this movie again.
I feel like we're going to revisit that pumpkin. Your jack-o'-lantern.
No.
Because that was like the worst of the worst. It's actually, this is what I felt like through the first 45 minutes of the movie. That's basically...
So moving on to day 2, the next movie that we watched was Late Night with the Devil. This is a 2023 film. It is a horror found footage style movie. And I absolutely, when we watched the trailer, I thought, oh my God, this is fantastic. Really original idea. Really, really cool. Mm-hmm. This movie would have gotten 5 jack-o'-lanterns, but the ending sucks really, really bad. It was terrible. The movie ended then went on for another 15 minutes that they did not need.
If in my mind, if they did the ending right at the static on the TV, perfection.
I also just realized I gave my opinion before I even read out what it was, so I probably should describe what this amazing concept is.
You were reading it already. The end was terrible after reading the description.
Yeah, I didn't read the description.
Okay,
I just said it was great.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the description of this is it's a live television broadcast. Basically, they've discovered this broadcast tape where something goes horribly wrong on this 1977 talk show, and evil is unleashed into the nation's living rooms. And it's got the footage from the show, behind the scenes footage that was captured by a documentary crew, and it blended really, really well together. So like all of the behind the scenes footage is in black and white, and it feels real. And then when they cut to the TV show, the actual broadcast, it's all spliced together really, really well, and it goes to like a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it's great, and it feels authentic. And the whole setup and the whole delivery while you're watching it, the first 2 acts, outstanding, really fun. Some creepy little tricks.
Yeah, but we watched like the host like life turn upside down, and you can see him slowly falling apart and slowly slipping into
great performance.
And he doesn't even care. He knows there's something creepy going on, but he doesn't care because he just wants to keep it going so he can keep his career going.
Yeah.
So people are literally dying in the audience, and he's just like, just sweep them under the rug. It's fine.
Right.
There were some really funny parts, like that girl that came out and sat in the chair and did some creepy stuff. I'm watching like the trailers playing on IMDb, and I'm re-seeing the parts where the psychiatrist comes out, and like does stuff and makes her do stuff. It's good. I actually thought it really good. First 2/3 of the movie, first 2 acts of the movie, not just good, but great, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then what happens? It goes bad. Well, no, I think there's a part where everything was going to shit. Not the movie itself, but everything on stage was going to shit.
Yeah.
And they went to a static TV. Like, they would cut it off because something horrific is happening. They would just go to static. And that's where it should have ended.
Right.
I feel like if it ended there, it would have been a perfection ending.
100%.
Yeah.
Because in the idea that this is found footage, and then here's the behind the scenes footage.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, everybody's dying. So who's left there to actually assemble something? It kind of goes into this weird little dream sequence. I forget what happens, but it just felt different, completely different feel than the whole part of the movie.
When the psychiatrist was trying to show what the little girl can do, there's other guy who can hypnotize people didn't believe it. He's like, I can make everyone do this.
Yeah.
And so he showed an example. He made the security guy or someone come up.
The sidekick on the show.
Yeah, it made the sidekick come up and do things to him while he was hypnotized.
Yeah.
Because he hates worms. And so he made him look like he was seeing worms come out of his body.
Right.
And so he's like, see, I can trick him. But the whole audience got hypnotized, so they can see it too.
Right.
So that's what he was trying to say.
But they filmed it, so they played back the videotape, and everybody then saw none of that was real.
No, it just looked like craziness.
Super great concept.
Yeah. And then she's like, play back hers and see if you see it. So, and I don't know if they did. I can't remember if they did. They must have. They wanted to play back the girls.
Didn't the same thing happen, or did more hell break loose at that point?
I think maybe more hell broke loose.
Yeah. That was close to the end. And then that's where, anyways.
It's been a number of days since we've seen it.
Yeah.
Now, so, but it was good. I say generally, I really, really liked it.
So you gave it how many jack-o'-lanterns?
I gave it 3 jack-o'-lanterns.
See, that's so funny because I gave it 4.
I gave it 3 because I feel like we're just starting out with movies, and I think we're going to have better movies. When I've done watching a movie, I have to leave that movie thinking that just gave me the chills the whole time, or just freaked me out the whole time.
Yeah. And
walk there thinking about it more. Like, I don't think it did that. It did a little bit, but not as much as the movie we watched last night. So,
yes. Yeah.
Which we won't talk about yet.
No, that'll be in our part 2. And speaking of part 2, you should probably hit that like button right now and subscribe so you can watch our part 2 in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shortly after the 31st at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. So, So whatever we felt last night watching that, because you could not sleep.
Yeah.
And you thought about it all night long. That's what the feeling I want.
Day 18's movie, or is it day 19's movie? No, day
19?
Day 18.
18, yeah.
Day 18's movie was Hell House, the 2015
I'm surprised you gave it away.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, now's your time to go watch it. And you can chime in when we do that second video. You can write your comment and see what you said about it. But, yeah, we're getting off track. I gave it 4 pumpkins. But you're right. The wrong thing stayed with me with this movie. You guys ruined it. You ruined an awesome movie, great concept, killer execution, and it's almost like a studio or somebody went in and said, no, you need to explain a little bit more. You need to add like 10 minutes into this to wrap it up.
Again, not to talk about the last movie we just watched. It ended with not really an explanation. A little bit, but not really. But anyway.
Correct.
We won't talk about that yet. But I still think it was fun. I hope they learned from their mistakes on making the weird ending, because I feel like a lot of people agree with that. We also forgot to mention that his wife died. Did we say that?
We did not.
Okay, his wife died, and she used to be on the show a lot too. I think. Was she on the show? But his wife died, and that's where things started turning off. But his wife ended up being a ghost on set.
Right.
He saw her in the background.
Yes.
So that was the other thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was starting to lose his mind a little bit too. So yeah, I still think it's worth watching.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised you're not giving it a 4.
No, I give it 3 because I feel like there's better stuff out there. 3 out of 5 is still pretty good.
It's a solid score. That is true.
It's still pretty good. I just think a 4 has to be more perfect.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what you rate as a 5 and 4 and 5. So I'm sure we'll get there eventually. And I think I know where we'll get there.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our day 3 movie, which was Destroy All Neighbors, which is a 2024 horror comedy. Struggling prog rock musician William Brown finds himself in a living nightmare when he accidentally kills Vlad, the neighbor from hell.
Vlad.
This movie stars Jonah Ray Rodriguez, who...
Wait.
Yeah.
Jonah Ray has Rodriguez in his name?
So during that podcast, Nerdist podcast, he just only went by Jonah Ray, but now that he's an actor,
I didn't know he
comedian,
was a Rodriguez.
Yeah, doesn't look like a Rodriguez. Yeah, looks like your basic white guy. But
his mom or dad could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I like Jonah Ray better. Not that I hate Rodriguez, but it's a totally different person to me.
I like how it rattled you.
Is it Jonah Ray because there's another Jonah Ray?
Maybe. I don't know.
Doesn't Jonah Ray just go by Jonah Ray?
Who is the other Jonah Ray you're
Isn't that the other actor? Jonah?
That's Jonah Hill.
Oh, okay. I thought he was Jonah Ray. Oh, so I don't know why he does it.
Don't know the reason.
And here it says Jonah Ray on IMDb. He's not using Rodriguez.
Interesting. So on the credits in the movie, Rodriguez was there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird. It just says Jonah Ray, actor, writer, director.
Anyway. He was on the Nerdist podcast forever ago, so I'm rooting for this guy. Unfortunately, I can't really root for this movie. It wasn't great. There's another horror comedy that we watched later in the week that was much, much better. This one, it was sillier than I thought it was going to be. This movie,
it's probably, it's a dark comedy, so I mean, it does fall into that. It's ridiculous because it has Tom Lennon. Yeah, he has, because I was like, oh my God, all the people we love are in this. This is great. I mean, it's fine, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain this movie. It's just really strange. It's like if you were on an acid trip or something, and this is
parts of that. Yeah,
I feel like you have to be high or something to watch this.
Yeah, I
think maybe that's luckily it's only an hour and 25 minutes. Maybe you have to be high to watch it.
It's kind of the prog rock of movies. It's not something for everybody.
Yeah.
So what did you give it? How many jack-o'-lanterns?
I only gave it a 2.
I gave it a 2 as well. I thought for sure you were going to give it a 1.
I gave it a 2 because there was some funny parts when the guy lost his body parts and they still had a band going. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
If you were high, you would most definitely probably be laughing your ass off.
Yeah, and I'll never know because I've missed my chance, and I'm not going to go back and watch this movie again.
Yeah, I feel like it was just disjointed. It was more like it wasn't put. I don't know. That's one of the notes I put. Yeah, it was disjointed.
Yep. So the movie also had Alex Winter in it, who plays Vlad in a costume, mask, makeup. You don't even recognize him. Then he had another role in this movie where he played the lawyer. So Alex Winter has 2 parts in it. The lead actress in the movie, Jonah Ray's girlfriend, I thought her character was fine. She was funny enough.
She was barely in it, though.
But, yeah.
She was in it a couple times. Because she's like, you're crazy. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He started getting a little psychotic towards the end, which is why I think you have to be on something to watch this.
And there's certainly funny moments, but overall, it's just sort of a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I like weird, but it's just weird.
Yeah.
Too weird. I don't recommend watching this one. I feel like unless you're high or something. I don't know.
You sure you want to keep saying hi?
I don't know. I'm just saying you have to be on something to watch it, I think. Drunk. I don't know. You just have to be something. Anyway, I'll give it 2 just because it's Jonah Ray and had Thomas Lennon in it briefly.
And those 2 guys couldn't save this movie.
No.
Okay, we're moving on to day 4, and this was a movie that we weren't sure of. It's called Terrifier. 2016 horror slasher. A maniac named Art the Clown terrorizes 2 friends on Halloween and anyone who gets in his way.
Yeah. That's all I remember.
Yeah, this movie, we kind of became aware of it because of Spirit Halloween.
Actually, no. We came aware of it because we were watching our favorite YouTubers in Florida, and a guy who goes to Comic-Cons worked on Terrifier.
Okay.
Remember?
I thought we watched that after.
It was like, no, it was Adam the Woo's friend and Tampa J's friend or something. The
guy who makes the masks.
He makes the mask.
Yeah.
He kept bringing up Terrifier. I was like, what is Terrifier? I should check that out. And then we saw it at Spirit Halloween, the clown. We keep seeing, it just kept showing up, this clown everywhere. It's just making its way into our world. So,
and then when we were at Crypticon this last summer, back in May, there was somebody did cosplay, so it was almost like a father-daughter.
It
so
was,
I guess
it was in the one that was in number 2.
Yeah, Terrifier 2,
Yeah.
Which was great costume. Again, thought it was amazing, thought they looked awesome.
Creepy as hell.
Loved them doing their little thing, but didn't really know what it was. And then finally it was like, okay, I guess we'll go and watch this movie. Let's check it out. There's a couple of them.
And I did not expect to see what I expected in this movie.
And I think we're both pretty good with certain kind of violence. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're not super huge slasher kind of fans, but there were some things in this that really, and I think this movie is famous for just pushing boundaries.
Yeah, and I think the overall consensus is it's pretty graphic. Like, it's probably top of the line graphic.
Yeah.
There's a genre. It's not even horror anymore. It's just straight up gore.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. I'm not a fan of horrific gore because I don't think that's what scares me. And like, gore just makes you want to get sick.
Yeah.
Versus scaring me is like all the spooky movies we watch, or just like what we did in Hell House. Like, that scares me more than just slashing someone up.
Right.
Or like funny jump scares or whatever. Like, that's better for me. Like, Saw's borderline, but at least there's a story.
Right.
There's somewhat of a story. It was pretty good when it first came out. They're gone too far now. I can't imagine how many Saws there are now.
But then there's certain kind of gore where it's like, not to sound like a complete psychopath, but like it's funny. Like, there's gore that's funny.
Well, that's like in the Neighbor movie, Destroy All the Neighbors. They tried to make that gore funny.
Which didn't work.
Yeah.
But there's some other movies I'm trying to, even Sleepy Hollow. When the Headless Horseman chops off somebody's head, I remember it came rolling to somebody's feet. And I remember being, whenever the heck that movie came out, I just remember laughing at the horror of it. It wasn't so horrific. Like, this is just, we are going to make a disgusting movie. We're going to upset some people. Let's see what we can get away with. Forgetting to wrap that in a nice story or interesting story.
Now, I just watched the Sean Clark behind the scenes of Terrifier 3. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting to watch that because there's a lot of, I like behind the scenes stuff, and it was really cool to see what they were doing. But you can tell that people were still horrified at what they were seeing because they were just going beyond. Like in Terrifier 3, I can't believe, I haven't seen it and I don't think I will, but I can't believe the scenes they're doing in that.
Yeah.
And it has to do with the baby.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my God, no.
Well, I mean, there's horrifying stuff in Terrifier 1 that already kind of turned us off from continuing on the series.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is violence towards women because they're killing men in this movie, but they're really torturing the women.
The men get killed right away and forgotten about. And then the women are more focused on, let's make sure we see their tits, which is kind of like the rules of like horror movies anyways. Like, you show nudity, you show certain things. which is fine. But I think it's kind of like when in P2 where it was torturing a woman. It was a lot for me, but it still stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so did Terrifier. We've been talking about Terrifier since we've watched it. So it's done something to us.
Right.
But the torture that he was doing in this was probably too far. And that's what they want you to say, right? Because that's going to make other people see it.
Right.
They're like, what is she talking about?
I gotta see this thing. It sounds amazing.
It's a lot. I kind of feel like it's too real life. Like so many women are still getting tortured in life. And like in these ways, like I can't help but think of like the pig farm thing that we had here in Canada. Things like that. It's too realistic and too crazy. I mean, I give them props for going beyond what they normally do in horror films.
Right.
I'm like a Friday the 13th Halloween person, like, or trick or treats or stuff like that. But I'm not I don't mind a good horror film or even a gore film if it's done right, like you said. Just add a little bit more. Don't focus on the dead body so much that you're just going to not only kill the person, you're going to split them open. You're going to like rip their arms off and feed it to their dog. Like it goes too far. Just kill a person to move on. Like,
well, and great point. When we talk about we're doing 31 days of horror movies, a lot of people are like, ooh, gross, I can't do that. But then you realize, well, did you like this movie? Well, technically that's kind of horror. It's just, it's more thriller.
Saturday 14th is a horror movie, but it's a comedy.
There's a million different subgenres of horror.
Yeah.
Turns out we just don't really go for certain kind of slashers.
I think mainstream gore is not for me. Like Human Centipede, not for me.
Never going to watch that.
Yeah. I didn't mind Saw, but I only seen the one, and I don't feel like I need to see others because it's repetitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when things get repetitive, I won't go back and watch them.
Right.
Because when Saw came out, I was like, this is different. We've never seen anything like this before. So I respect that film, even though I hate the guy who made it. I don't hate him. I just don't like his movies.
Right.
For the most part, even though I keep watching them. So
we watched a ton of them last summer.
Maybe I'm middle line with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, the scene in this movie was he somehow grabbed this woman from the car while her friend was in the bathroom.
Yep.
Stripped her down to nothing. Strapped her up upside down.
Yep. Hung her butt by the legs.
I immediately thought, well, he was going to go kill her. He caught her friend too, but she was on the ground. He was going to go slash her throat or whatever.
Right.
And he stopped and he's like, no, I like this. Like he was fascinated with her from the beginning.
Right.
So he stopped and he's like, oh no, I'm going to go make her watch me kill her friend first.
Right.
So can you imagine when she's upside down? I thought, okay, he's going to slit her throat.
Right.
Because you could tell she was like really scared upside down. Her whole body was shaking.
Yeah.
That was good.
Performance was
crazy. Because you would generally be full body shaking.
Yeah.
And then he just split her.
Yeah.
From JJ down to her brain.
With a saw.
With a
hacksaw.
electric saw.
No, it was a hacksaw.
Was it a hacksaw?
Yeah.
So there was the whole, I don't even know how long this scene was, of him hacking her all the way down. And then he got stuck in her face and he was like ripping it out. Yeah. It was just, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's too much. But I give him props for making us talk about it this whole time.
Yeah. There's one last thing I wanted to talk about it that irritated me too. I mean, that's everything that you just said is repulsive.
Yes.
But then from like a movie making standpoint, he's carrying around a sack of rusty old weapons, which I thought, it's like, oh, that's something I've not seen before. But then in one scene, all of a sudden, he pulls out a gun and he shoots a character. And it's just like, whoa, what?
I thought that really threw me off because every horror movie I ever watched with a crazy killer, they've never used a gun that I watched. Like, I'm trying to think of
the icons
all the classic. They have their weapons. I don't see them ever use a gun.
You've got Freddy's glove. You've got the machete from Jason. Michael Myers. Did
knives,
you have any? Oh, just the knife.
And stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that.
You got the chainsaw.
Yeah, there you go.
And so like when he pulled out that gun, I was just like, that just messed up your whole persona. Like, I feel like you wanted to use your rusty weapons. Like the gun was weird. And I think in number 2 and stuff, he uses more guns.
And then later, very close to the end of the movie, for some reason he pulls out the bicycle horn and does that once. So it was just sort of like, hey guys, you know what'd be great in this scene is why don't we have him have a horn? It's like
I thought he wouldn't do that the whole time.
Yeah.
Like if he was coming, he'd be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
but it was like the horn when she crawled through a door it was a chain door, so she got inside and he couldn't get in. She fit though, and so he couldn't get in. So he reached in his bag, pulled out the horn, and did this half.
Yeah.
But it was like not even a good one. Like I expected that to be like a loud.
Right.
But it was just like it was broken or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I keep thinking about the movie. I can tell you that, and I've been looking at photos and video of Terrifier 3 to see what people's reactions are in the theater, and I already can tell you that it's probably even more horrific. But I would think scenes from all Terrifiers are probably on the top of the most goriest movies ever.
Which I guess is a great way to get attention from your movie.
And they're giving out barf bags at the theater with the Terrifier logo on it. And people have been walking out, and people have been getting sick. And it's like, how far are we willing to go? That's what we need to ask ourselves in these kind of movies.
Yeah.
So, but hey, they're doing something different, I guess. But
so I gave Terrifier 1 jack-o'-lantern.
I gave it 2 because we've been talking about it ever since we watched it on day 4. Mm-hmm. Every day I feel like we brought it.
Wow, that was sort of crappy. We're definitely not going to watch number 2, but yet here we are reading about Terrifier 3.
They're doing what they want people to do.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to go watch 2. No, we
don't have to.
I know.
But when you showed me that behind the scenes footage, it's just like, I see a bunch of men and women working hard
Creative
on
people.
a movie.
Yeah.
The look of Terrifier 3 looks, wow. It looks really cool.
Yeah, the effects, because when we went to Monsters FX recently for their open house, the effects in there of bodies and stuff were so real.
Yeah.
There's a couple of times where I walked up to a person in there that was all like messed up in the face, and I had to step back.
Yeah.
Because it scared me. The real tall guy at the beginning.
In the orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I walked up to him to take a photo, and then I immediately jumped back because he freaked me out.
Right.
Like that's how real they look.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy what we can do with FX.
These are amazing craftspeople, right? Like they're masters of their art form.
I appreciate that. They've done a hell of a job in Terrifier because it did enough for me to be like, and I think the guy in like Terrifier 3 doing all the FX stuff worked on Halloween and stuff.
Yeah, he's a bit of a legend.
Yeah, he's a bit of a legend.
Well, okay, so all that said, I can respect what they're doing. I can expect the craftsmanship and all of this stuff. I thought this movie lacked a bit of a story, a good story. There wasn't enough there.
There was no story.
I mean, this was clearly a lower budget movie during the first one. They probably have way more money now, too. It's just not for me.
Yeah, and I could tell you we don't know what he is. He's not human. But in Terrifier 3, I believe they revealed that he's a demon.
Terrifier 2, they released?
3, the one that came out now.
So the second movie still doesn't get into
the
story?
And the 3 opens up a
him?
hole in the ground and like to hell, and he drags people in it. Like it revealed that he's a demon. There was a newspaper article in 3 that said about the little girl being killed at a circus. There was an article about a local circus and murders. So it has to do with the circus and demons and something. So they brought in a hint of a storyline, but there's absolutely 0% story in this movie.
Yeah, we don't know where he's from, why he chooses these people, and then
he just starts off putting on his makeup and shows up somewhere and doesn't leave that neighborhood. He just done. Then he takes a nap.
I don't think I fell asleep during this movie, so at least there was that.
Oh, I have one more question before we move on. Okay, after that night of murders he's done, what does he do after that night? Does he go back and take a nap? Does he wait 10 years and do it again? Does he do it every night? Because if Terrifier was doing this every night, there'd be a lot of dead people, and wouldn't more cops be involved in trying to find this person?
Right.
I mean, maybe they do that in 2.
And it's not even clear that this is Halloween night. Whatever town they're in, there's like one restaurant that's open. There's not a lot going on.
Yeah.
It
looked like New York.
You're right. Yeah.
Was it New York?
a very quiet neighborhood in New York.
City. Yeah.
But also, you're right. There was no character that came in that gave like the backstory of anything, right? It was just literally like these two people
Halloween
in the wrong
night.
place at the wrong time.
Maybe it only comes out on Halloween.
But they didn't get into that, and that's awfully going after a whole another franchise.
She was dressed up in a Halloween costume, so it was Halloween again. So maybe he only appears at Halloween.
So we have to decide whether we're going to go down this path and find out these answers, or are we just going to have this movie F off?
I do like his... I like the art himself, the clown. He's terrifying.
Yeah.
I like that part. I just don't know if I like aggressive gore.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like if I liked it, I'd probably be a psychopath. So that probably...
No, because you can appreciate a good movie.
But if someone's in a movie eating their popcorn like on Thriller when he's watching a movie, he's like...
Yeah. Having a good time.
You're having a good time.
Yeah.
If you can eat your popcorn in the middle of a crazy gore scene, then you might be a psychopath.
That's true. That's true. Before we move on to day number 5, just a reminder, if you have any comments about these movies, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you guys think, whether you think we're wrong, whether we're crazy, whether you have any other information maybe we're missing out on. Just let us know your thoughts, and also hit that like button, because that really
crazy.
helps.
We just have channel. Opinions.
I
don't think we're crazy.
We're a little crazy.
We're weird.
Yes.
Not
together.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're not weird.
Yeah.
But that's just it. People have opinions.
Yeah.
Things are subjective, and that's what's great about movies.
That's true. I had many people write me after I said we watched Terrifier and said they loved it. But all of them said there was no storyline. They just liked the clown. They're watching it for the clown.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Which I get. So day 5, and this is a horror comedy that I'm talking about. Let the Wrong One In from 2022. This is a horror comedy. A young supermarket worker discovers that his older brother is a vampire and must choose whether to help him or slay him. This is an Irish movie.
Dublin.
It has kind of that feel, that energy of like Shaun of the Dead. It's great. It's really enjoyable. It's a small cast. It takes place in basically one location at their house and in the backyard. And this is a horror comedy that, for me, really, really worked.
It's a vampire horror, action, comedy. That's basically what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, of course, horror, but I think that's covered in the vampire horror part. Yeah, it's
a fun, crazy little story. All the performances, I have to say, are good. The characters are really, really interesting. You know, the characters that come in, show up, and appear out of nowhere, or are there to propel the story further along, are really, really great.
Yeah, I like this one. I like this one a lot. It was silly and gory at the same time.
This is one I won't spoil.
No. This one has gore in it, but it's
funny gore.
Funny gore.
Yeah.
That's what makes us laugh.
Yeah.
I love laughing and being horrified at the same time. Like
Well, also
there's
I mean, we're going to talk about this when we get into later stuff in the week, but movies, I know vampires aren't real, and I know that violence is fun, kind of, and like they're kind of, well, vampires do this, and like their knowledge of vampires comes from movies as well, like all of us does. Yeah. So that's what makes it a fun ride. So with that kind of movie and that kind of framework, what kind of violence you're going to get from a vampire movie, and you know that there's going to be sunlight there's going to be things burning, there's going to be lots of blood, there's going to be people thirsting for blood, so there's all of this stuff going on, and yeah, it's gory and gross, and there's lots of blood, but it's bloody entertaining.
And it happens during the day, so they can't leave the house, so they're trying to kill people even leaving the house and getting burnt.
Right.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, there's just little things. I don't even know where to begin to talk about this movie.
I'm just wondering why I gave it 4 jack-o'-lanterns and not 5. What did you give it?
5.
Wow.
Because I left satisfied, entertained. The guy turned into a weird bat at the end with his head still attached to the bat body.
Oh my God.
You remember that?
Yeah.
It was like his head, but a bat.
Right.
And he was like, he couldn't fully commit to being a bat.
Right.
It was good.
Well, it's his first weekend as a vampire.
Yeah.
Damn it. I feel like I need to give this an extra star because I don't have I'm going to give an extra pumpkin. For me, it earned the 5th jack-o'-lantern because I have really nothing negative about this movie at all.
It's the head bat, the bat with the human head.
That's what put it over the edge.
That's
me.
on the poster. Yeah. So if you put the poster up, you'll see it. There's nothing bad to say about this movie. I just think, I don't even want to ruin it for you because it's just ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. If you're afraid of horror movies, I think this one you can easily watch without being, especially if you're a fan of Shaun of the Dead. Mm-hmm. This is kind of that same vibe. Yeah, so
absolutely.
I love it. Anytime there's a movie done overseas, I tend to like it more.
Almost.
Just like that TV series we watched where they had the vampires and they're going down the canal with the vampires.
Oh, Zomboat. So
love
good.
It. Yeah. So, I'm into it. And I guess it was made in 2022, so it's not that new.
No, a couple years old.
Yeah.
Should also point out, majority of these movies we're watching are on Shudder, but I'm sure you guys are knowledgeable enough to go and figure out where these movies are. But Shudder's a great place. It's got a great collection of movies, all sorts of subgenres on there, and fantastic. Sounds like I'm doing an ad for Shudder, but I'm not. But basically, that's where a lot of the movies we're finding.
Yeah. The Shudder just happens to have a bunch of. Not every movie they recommend at the beginning of Shudder is good.
That's true.
Because we started off, Imaginary was one of the first recommendations, wasn't it?
Wasn't that on Prime?
Oh, maybe it was.
Yeah.
But that was a recommended movie too. And I'm just like, we're starting out really sad in our...
Honestly, you're right. It really was until we got to day 5 where it was like a complete movie that I'm really liked.
I think day 7, day 5, but day 7 we kicked it off with better movies.
Yeah.
For sure.
So day number 6 was Blood Relatives from 2022. So another horror comedy. Is it really? Yeah, I guess it is a comedy.
It is a horror comedy.
A vampire's loner lifestyle is thrown into disarray when a teenager shows up claiming to be his daughter, and she's got the fangs to prove it. On a road trip across America's blacktops, they decide how to sink their teeth into family life.
Yes, and the slogan of this movie is "Family Sucks."
It's a great slogan. So tell me what you thought about this movie.
This movie was shot in 18 days, by the way. Mm-hmm. So that can explain why this movie... I'm just going to tell you right now that I gave this movie 2 jack-o'-lanterns.
Okay.
Shot in 18 days is probably why it wasn't as good as I'd hoped it would be. Mm-hmm. The concept is great. I believe it's a spin-off of some other thing. I can't remember what it was, but... I said in my notes, a missed opportunity that lacked the bite to make it stand out.
Nice. You should work on the poster.
I think if that said it on the poster, no one would see it.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
It was a very small cast, so that's probably why it didn't take very long. And they were basically in the desert the whole time.
Right.
And I just said it was just okay. I think it had potential to be really good. The concept was there. Mm-hmm. But the end where, like, she wanted him to be his dad and, like, get a real job as a vampire because you can do that. Mm-hmm. And her actually attend school. She can go out in the daylight, but she said she's able to go out because of SPF 5000. They're just randomly making up SPFs.
Right.
But, yeah, and then she teaches him things like he doesn't know enough.
Even though he's... Like,
she's figured some things out more so than him, but then he's figured some things out because he's 200 years old.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think it could have been better. Like, if it was the storyline was thought out a little bit more.
Also, he's 200 years old, but he's dressed like a greaser from the 1950s.
Yeah, he's a loner.
Yeah.
He just travels.
And How many jack-o'-lanterns did you give it?
I only gave it 2.
Wow, okay. So I gave it 3. Mm-hmm. I also fell asleep during this movie.
Well, I'm surprised you're giving it a 3 then.
I know, but the extra jack-o'-lantern might be for the nap that I had in the middle of the movie, which was pretty great.
Well, you can't give them that for the nap.
I could do whatever I want. It's my rating system. But
that movie was a good nap.
Yeah, dude, I've had some great nap.
Is that a good nap? There's like rain in that.
Yeah, it's peaceful.
Aw.
Nice.
Is that what you heard when you watched it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when I woke up, I was just like, I didn't really miss much, and okay.
No, you didn't miss anything.
I guess they're
just still.
I must have missed the scene where she said, "I guess we should instead of driving around, why don't we settle down and we'll move somewhere and all go to high school."
Well, it did start with she had one other relative, and the relative didn't want her. Like, they never wrote back, and so she was like this orphan on the run because the system wanted her.
Right.
So she was trying to find him, and then he dropped her off at this woman who didn't want her. And I think she ended up leaving because it was just a weird situation.
Never saw that scene.
Yeah.
I was KO'd.
Yeah, it was a weird situation. So she ended up leaving there, and he just ended up taking her. Because she's like, what am I supposed to do? Be my daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now they share sucking together.
I mean, it's 2 stars, so you're not really going to recommend anybody see this movie. Was there anything...
I guess if you're a fan of Twilight, I don't know. I don't recommend it at all.
If you're a fan of Twilight, there's a bajillion Twilight movies.
I feel like this movie's been done somewhere before and probably better.
Yeah, probably.
Probably a 1978 movie or something. Yeah.
So day number 7 is our 3rd vampire movie in a row. Mm-hmm. This wasn't planned. This just happened.
We just pick our movies that night, basically. It's not often we have something planned unless we're watching a series of movies. So we just randomly go in and go, that looks good. And you'll see, like, in the next set of movies we review that I picked a movie based on the poster.
Yes.
Which was a gorilla monster. But, yeah.
So this movie that we're talking about, day 7, was Abigail from 2024. It's a horror suspense. Mm-hmm. After a group of criminals kidnap the ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, they retreat to an isolated mansion, unaware that they're locked inside with no normal little girl.
Mm-hmm. I thought she was 200 plus years old as well. Seems to be the magic number for vampires. It is the magic number. I guess if you go back any further, I don't know. Yeah, she's a 200 plus vampire with not the traditional vampire teeth. She had all long teeth.
True,
which made it more creepy.
Much like the Terrifier.
Yes, made it much more creepier.
But she was a ballerina vampire.
She's a good actress. She played this role well.
Yeah.
She played it as a mature adult, as someone who's whatever. How old is she, I wonder? She was born September 26, 2009 in Dublin, Ireland. How funny is that?
How about that? Yeah.
Because we're going back to their movie.
Sorry,
Dublin.
Born in what year?
2009, September.
Jesus Christ.
So.
Okay.
How old would you be in 2009?
Don't make me do math.
Okay, so she's 14 or 15. Well, September.
Probably.
So she just turned 15.
Yeah, probably 15 or 14 when they made this movie. And you're right. Her performance was great. Mm-hmm. Almost everybody in this movie is really great. And you've also got a brief appearance by Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, that's right.
Who's very good in everything that he does, and seems to turn down nothing anymore, and is in a lot of damn movies.
He's having his moment.
He is having his moment. He's had a long career, but certainly in the last 5 years.
I feel like we've seen him so many times now. I just hey, there he is.
Oh crap! Not 5 years.
We've seen him. How many times do you think we've seen him? We've seen him in person multiple times.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 times now.
More, I feel like more.
Yeah.
Like he seems to be at every Comic-Con we're at, and I just see him go, hey, there's him.
Yeah.
A couple of times we tried to see him, but he was on his way out. Mm-hmm. And so we just never had a chance to actually.
Yeah.
We were standing in line, he was already leaving.
Right.
So one day we'll meet him.
Yeah.
But I feel like I see celebrities now that we see almost every time we're at a con. It's like, hey, there's so-and-so. It's like becoming these people that I think I know, but I don't because I see them every day.
Right.
Or every day, every con.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was in it. He was awesome. He was barely in it, but he was in it.
He sets up some stuff, leaves, comes back at the end. Great reveal. I don't want to really spoil anything about this movie other than suspenseful, fun, some good vampire stuff going on. The ragtag group assembled don't really know each other, so there's some trust issues going on. All of the characters, I'm not going to say they're super well defined, but the performances are fine.
I should say all the characters were hired. Like this Abigail, the girl, orchestrated all these people to get together. They were hired to pull off a kidnapping, which was to kidnap her.
Right.
So None of them knew each other. They weren't allowed to say their own names. They weren't
Right.
allowed to tell any of their stories or anything. They just thought they were on a job they were getting paid for.
Right.
Ended up having to stay in the house and watch her, and it just goes to shit from there. She plays with them in a way.
Yeah.
She plays with them. She plays with her food basically
Yeah.
until she wants to eat it.
Yeah.
And I can't say one ends up turning into a vampire, but just her ballerina dance. I'm watching the little bit of the trailer here because it's on IMDb looping.
Yeah.
Just watching her do the ballet jumps and stuff while
cool.
she's creepy.
Yeah.
So good.
It's really, really
so
great.
good.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about in horror films. This really gets me excited.
It was fresh. It was not something we'd
Yeah.
really seen before. And while we're talking about it's almost like somebody took the concept from The Usual Suspects and kind of turned that into a vampire movie.
Yeah.
And by that I mean brought a crew together. There's a character who we think is something, turns out to be something else. And so there's this cleverness
And then
behind
people are
it.
turning on each other.
Yeah.
Like somebody already knew this was going to be the case.
Yeah.
But then like it just ends funny. It's good. I don't want to ruin this one, but if you want to watch a good horror movie this month, I think this one will be a really fun one to watch. It's called a monster horror, dark comedy, thriller, I guess. Yeah.
So I think looking back, because I added a jack-o'-lantern on day 5, this day 7 was the first time I actually gave anything we watch 5 jack-o'-lanterns.
Same.
Oh, you gave it a 5 as well.
Yep. Yeah, because I left satisfied.
Anything wrong with this movie?
Not really.
I don't think so either.
No, because it really did a setup where we didn't think that was the case, and that like if you can trick me to think that I didn't know, like if I'm surprised when it happened, like surprised finding out she orchestrated the kidnapping and all the stuff to play with her food, like
Right.
she's just a bored vampire who's been around too long and wants to do funny things.
Usually you're pretty good at figuring stuff out along the way. You can get it kind of early.
Yeah.
And you didn't see it coming.
No, not till closer to time.
Yeah.
I kind of figured out closer to then, but like, yeah, it was good. And then I liked when she was in the cage, they locked her up and she could totally get out, but she just let them lock her up.
Yeah,
She was really fucking with them. It was
Right.
great.
awesome.
It was great. I love it.
Cool.
I will probably watch this one again one day.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Great question. Do you think you'll watch any of the other 6 movies on this list prior to 7? Would you watch any of those again?
No, because there's so many horror movies
Yeah.
out there to watch.
Yeah.
So many that we haven't seen still.
Right.
It would have to be something like Trick or Treat, or I want to watch it every year.
Yeah.
So just probably Abigail is the only one so far that I think I would watch again. Like I don't have an itch to watch The Terrifier ever again.
No.
But who knows with us? 2 weeks from now, we
change-
can be like,
change.
guess what? We watched another Terrifier and we're still just as horrified.
Right. Right.
We've done it. We just ended the month with like, we're traumatized for the rest of our lives now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So far, Abigail is the only one I'd watch again.
So moving on to day 8. This is a movie neither of us heard of before. It's from 1982. It's a horror suspense thriller, and it is called Tenebre. What can I say about Tenebre?
It's a Dario and Argento movie.
Yes.
He's been around since probably the 60s or even earlier.
Do you remember why we even picked this movie? We saw the poster.
Because I like older movies. I like stuff from the 80s, stuff from the 70s, stuff from the 60s. I find those horror movies are so ridiculously interesting. And this one just came across as like a Hitchcock kind of style movie. And the name, I don't know, the look of it looks cool. Like it looks like a 70s film, even though it's 82, which is kind of close to 70s. It's that cool Don Draper vibe, like that kind of vibe.
Well, it's kind of that not gritty, but it's that gritty kind of 70s movies, late 70s movies. That was
like
a really
watching a Hitchcock movie.
golden era of cinema. It's what so many of the 90s movies were drawing from as that era. So let me set it up. This is an American novelist visiting Rome to promote his latest book and is stalked and harassed by an obsessed fan who is committing a string of murders that appear to be tributes to his work. So this movie was like we're talking about. It's got a cool look. It's got a good story.
Slightly cheesy.
Yeah.
Slightly cheesy.
It certainly feels dated.
I thought it was. I had to say at the beginning, I thought we started watching a porn for a minute.
There's aspects to the acting.
The beginning was a lot of titties.
A lot of
unnecessary boobage.
Take that back.
There's
rarely.
I don't
they're always
normally
necessary.
walk down the stairs with a sheet around me going, hey.
Forgot about that.
I don't normally just randomly open the window to show my boobs.
To be fair, we don't have stairs in this place.
I mean, there's a couple times where I've ran to living room to get some underwear off the rack.
Yeah.
And just like hope the neighbors don't see. But I don't normally, I don't know. It's just like the slasher movies where the grown women are having a slumber party and they're all pillow fighting and the guys are in the window going, ah, and they're all jumping around with their, It's not normal. Women don't do that. That's just your imagination.
Damn it.
It's not normal.
No.
Never once have I had a pillow fight with my boobs out.
With your friends?
With my friends.
Okay.
So, but anyway, it started off boobalicious, as you would say.
Have I ever said that? Sure.
I don't know. I'm just
just
saying there is a lot of boobage at the beginning. I'm probably selling it to you already. But that kind of calmed down after that. It was just a little bit much at the beginning as far as like.
This movie had the right level. I don't want to say it's campy because it's not. I mean, it's certainly not a modern day feel of a movie. It's 1982. So it has, as you said, it's got a 70s vibes in the 80s. Mm-hmm. It's just a kind of intriguing story.
Yeah.
I didn't fall asleep. I was entertained, didn't know where it was going. There was, when that whole reveal came, and again, this isn't something we want to spoil, but granted, this movie's old.
That's I guessed the reveal, though.
Did you?
I guessed it, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of was thinking it was going that way. But yeah, I still liked it. I liked it. It had the Hitchcock vibe. I liked that it had some cool filming scenes, like the way they shot some of the scenes, the way someone died.
Yeah.
Like the girl in the towel fell through her glass window or glass door. Yeah. And then she fell through backwards with her head back, and then he shot it from the ground. It just looked really cool. Like it was very artsy shot. Someone was like, "Go for it, dude. Just show all your passion for filming right there."
Well, and there's something that we should say. So for the time, this movie was actually banned in a lot of different countries, and it actually wasn't available to rent or anything until like 1994 because of the gore. Like it was shocking. Yeah. So for the time, and this was the Terrifier of its time, and the fact that the gore. Now watching it by today's standard, there was nothing really crazy gore.
I have a write up here from IMDb about that, and it's what is it? Tenebre.
Yeah.
Was a modest success in Italy. It reached theaters with little controversy after Argento made cuts to one of the most violent scenes. However, in the United Kingdom, it was added to the infamous list of video nasties. So, in banned from sale until 1999.
1999? Mm-hmm. Jeez.
Yeah. So he's kind of like the Terrifier in a way where he was pushing boundaries then.
Yeah.
Back then, that was pushing boundaries.
Right.
And we've come so far.
So I do recall some things in it that were a bit shocking and a bit bloody and a bit surprising.
But I like the way they shot it, though.
Yes.
It was beautifully shot. I said wonderful cinematography and a banging soundtrack and a memorable and interesting plot line. It was a banging soundtrack. You have to. Banging. It was good. So those were all my notes on that. But
so did you give this 5 jack-o'-lanterns?
I did.
Yeah,
because
here.
I love a good oldie movie that just hits everything. We were both Hitchcock fans, and anytime you even do a little bit of that in there, I'm in. Because we actually went one time and watched all the Hitchcock films. Like we've seen them all. I know which ones are good and which ones are bad.
Yeah.
So we're not. I think we're fluent on Hitchcock films anyway.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
So I like this one. They're definitely fans of Hitchcock. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
If you interviewed him, he would say yes.
Right.
He got some ideas for him or was inspired by.
Yeah.
This one I recommend for sure.
And I'd never heard of it, never heard of this director either.
I give it 5 jack-o'-lanterns.
Yes.
And you gave it 5?
I gave it 5 as well.
So we're good.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, highly
Watch
recommend.
Tenebre. We like this movie so much that we watched another one of his movies. The movie we watched is called Two Evil Eyes, which came out in 1990, which is a horror thriller. And this movie's kind of interesting in the respect that it's an anthology movie. And by that, I mean it's two different stories, two different separate shorter movies together. So you watch one, then you watch the second one. And the first movie was George Romero, and that story is called The Facts in the Case of Mr. Valdemar. And then the second story is called Black Cat, and that one was directed and written and directed by Dario.
Dario. D-A-R-I-O. Dario.
And this movie is a duo of Edgar Allan Poe adaptations. The first one, The Facts of the Case of Mr. Valdemar, is about a greedy wife's attempt to embezzle her husband's fortune. And then Black Cat is about a sleazy reporter's adoption of a strange black cat. So we'll talk about the first movie. Figure out how figure if we're gonna rate them both together or separately.
I'm gonna rate it as one.
You're gonna rate it as one.
Yeah, I mean you can, but I feel like it would just mess things up. But yeah.
So the first story, directed by George Romero, which was exciting when we found out about that.
Yeah, we had no idea. We just picked it based on the cover and the fact that it was a list of one of his other movies.
I should also point out the poster for Two Evil Eyes is really cool, because they actually blend the two different stories into one poster, and it's really cool. It's a really cool image.
It looks like a anatomy of a woman's area, like
also like the Showgirls poster. Yeah,
of a vagina. I don't even know what my own body parts. It looks like that, but it also looks like the eyes of like an animal. Like there's eyes in there of the cat.
There's cat's eyes in there, and then there's a silhouette of a woman up at the top, which is funny.
There's a skeleton holding a time watch, like an old-fashioned watch on a chain.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, you don't have it in front of you.
Yeah,
like
I don't. I don't.
So,
anyway, so what did you think about this first story?
This one was good. It reminded me of like something you would see in Dynasty, but like
yeah,
but it was actually kind of brilliant, to be honest. I'm not surprised it was actually Romero's movie, so I don't think you hate many of his movies. I don't think I do.
Well, when we were watching this, I thought, oh, he finally made a movie that doesn't have zombies in it.
We were wrong.
And we were wrong.
No, it was good because it was about her. She's younger. Her husband's clearly much, much, much older, probably in his 80s or something.
Yeah.
Back then, everyone looked... 50-year-olds look old back then.
Yeah.
So he was on his deathbed. Basically, she had a doctor come in, hypnotize him, so he'd not be in pain, because he was in pain. So,
but a little bit more mischievous than that.
Yeah.
Because that was a benefit for the guy.
Yeah.
But they basically had a plan to take all of his money, by the doctor could hypnotize him, make him say anything that we needed him to say,
sign some things,
yeah, and give all of the money over to her. So the movie basically starts with her at a lawyer's office and her saying, my husband's giving me all this and need access to this account. He's like, well, no, I don't think he's done that, and it's not in his will, and blah, 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 blah. Let's give him a call. Cut to him saying some stuff on the phone, like, I just want her to be happy. I want to give this to her. Turns out all of that was bullshit. Sounds real. Signature kind of doesn't look the same, but it's close.
He actually did say it, though. He was just being told to say it,
right?
Because he was hypnotized. Right. It's actually brilliant how this movie's gonna go. Also crazy to think that could be a thing. Like anyway, yeah. I wonder. It makes me wonder how that would work if you can actually be hypnotized and you die hypnotized.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't happen that way now. In the world of AI, where I can replicate video to look like somebody.
Oh my God, you're right.
A video will of somebody saying something.
Can you not have a video will anymore because you can't?
Yeah,
trust
probably not.
AI?
Yeah, interesting, right? Anyways, the story evolves. This is where I think I'm not super familiar with Edgar Allan Poe, but I think that there's a story. There's a lot of stress that happens and torment, and so the wife that's pretty confident starts getting some of the money, but you can tell she's starting to get really stressed out about it. Then the husband actually dies, but he's been hypnotized, so his conscious mind is somehow he's dead, but he's still able to communicate
because he was
and
hypnotized.
Still talk. Yeah.
So, but they take his body and they're like, well, we can't report that he's dead.
Right. It's too early.
We need to wait till the paperwork goes through.
Yeah.
So they're like, got the idea to put him down in the giant
freezer
in the basement.
Yeah.
You know, the long freezer you had back in the day.
Yeah.
And he was in the freezer, and as time went on, you can hear someone yelling, help, 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 help. And it's him in the freezer. He's not physically saying it, but it's coming out of his mouth, even though his mouth isn't moving. Like it's like a person inside him screaming. And that's exactly what's happening. Right. So he's in this weird world where these things are coming at him in the thing, and they're like getting closer and closer. And if they get where they need to be, they'll come out of him. Right. Like they will be released out of his body into the real world. Right. So he's like, they're like, we need to kill him. We need to actually kill them again. Right. Or not again, because they didn't kill him, but we need to actually physically kill him.
Well, they try shooting him. This is where the zombie part comes in. Yeah. You can't kill him.
You need to wake him up from his hypnotize.
Right. He's begging to be woken up so that he can.
He's like, help me, so I can physically die. Because if not,
but they can't let him die because they don't have all the money yet. Cut to a bunch of other stuff. Mm-hmm. Bit of a crazy, weird ending. Turns into a bit of like I don't even know what you would say. I kind of don't want to ruin this ending here too much. Yeah. But every dog gets their day. Let's say that. And
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, well, we pretty much gave it away because you said everybody dog gets their day. But both of these people, they were actually sleeping together too. The doctor hypnotist is sleeping with her too. Right. But yeah, they both end up dying. Yeah. So very interesting ways. And this is where the zombie comes in, because Romero made him, the doctor, turn into a zombie-like thing at the end because he died. Yeah. He liked to hypnotize himself going to sleep at night so he'd sleep better. But he killed in his sleep or died in his sleep. I can't remember how he died.
Well, the creatures, whatever came through the darkness, came through the guy, tracked him down for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, but he ended up dying in his sleep. Yeah,
they killed him somehow.
And he was still hypnotized, so he woke up and was walking around as a zombie, which was weird because you think the old guy would have walked around as a zombie.
Well, he did briefly in the
house.
But
he did get his zombie moment at the end. And I think that's kind of how it ended, was him as a zombie.
So I really like that story. I gave it 4 jack-o'-lanterns out of 5. I really enjoyed it. There was a cheese factor. There's a lot of stuff going in. I thought it was a very neat story.
It had a Dynasty vibe, but
worked.
Also still Hitchcocky.
But also 1990 Dynasty was long over.
It still had that vibe though.
But it had that vibe. Yeah. Yeah.
The old rich people style.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to save your pumpkin score, jack-o'-lantern score as an all overall out of the 2 stories?
You can say it, but I gave the whole thing, the whole anthology, a 4.
Okay.
But I would think this story is stronger than the next one we're gonna.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the second story, which was Black Cat. This movie starred Harvey Keitel, which 1990. Come on, that seems.
This was Dario's movie too.
Yes, and that's a younger Harvey Keitel, but I have to double check when Reservoir Dogs came out, but I think that's probably 92 or something like that, 92, 93. But Harvey Keitel looked way, way younger than he did, so I'm just kind of surprised and was thrown off by that. Yeah. This story is a little bit more interesting. I gave it less marks. I gave it a 3 jack-o'-lanterns out of 4. But this guy basically is a little bit, you're not sure what's going on with him. I thought he was a crime scene photographer, but it looks like he's actually working for the newspaper.
But he was a crime scene photographer. He was taking photos for the crime scene people, but he enjoyed it. Yeah. And he was turning it into art. Yeah. Versus taking the actual photo they need for the crime. He was actually taking it artsy. At the beginning of the movie, it showed a woman who was split in half by one of those giant old-fashioned knives that could swing like this. Right. And he turned it back on so he could take the photo of it swinging through her split body. Right. And he wanted that photo. And then the police are just looking at him going, all right, whatever. Yeah. But then the police are also saying, why don't you be more artsy with him? We're so sick of the typical crime scene photos, because they say that all the time, because it's not going to help their case at all.
Don't disrupt our crime scene here.
He turned it on when they were standing in the room too. They could have easily walked into that. Yeah. Wow, I was just thinking 2 movies we watched this last.
That have a swinging blade. Yeah.
I don't know what that's
fun
called.
fact.
Yeah.
It's called old-timey swingy blade.
Old-timey swingy blade is what I'm going to call it. Yeah. That's usually how I call things.
So this movie, so the rest of the story is he's got a younger girlfriend. She plays the violin. They're not really getting along.
She brings a cat home.
Yeah.
A stray cat.
And
he wasn't thrilled.
He's processing his film. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever processed film. Back in the day when you had a dark room, last thing you need is people walking in and out of that and a cat walking all over the chemicals and all of this stuff. Magically, his photos still appear just fine. But anyways, the cat's weird. He doesn't like the cat.
He doesn't seem to be thrilled about this cat. The cat immediately didn't like him. The cat already... animals have that instinct of like not knowing this person's not a good person.
Right.
So the cat was just constantly hissing at him. So he was done with that. Right. And this is the part of the movie where I feel like I didn't like it.
And there was a scene where he's back at work, which is not the police station. It's at the newspaper. And he's showing the photos. And the guy's like, you need to come back. You need to show something else with your photos. You got to do this.
They don't publish crime scene photos in the paper.
No.
He was taking photos like a crime scene person.
Yes, it doesn't make any sense. And then what makes even less sense.
I just wonder if he was doing both jobs. Like back in the day, they double duty
yeah.
We'll let you get photos for your paper, but can you take photos for us too?
Right. Because this is New York City, and you're the only photographer in town.
I feel like you have to have like
or wherever the hell they were.
A crime scene photo person has to be
and they're not published in the newspaper.
Because what if they mess with the scene when they anyway? Yeah, it's the whole thing.
So, anyways, as the story unfolds, he starts killing the cat and strangling the cat, but taking photos of it.
Yeah, he was kind of holding the cat in front of him.
Yeah,
and like
set up a timer.
Set up a timer, and he was wanting to get a photo of the cat like being strangled, like because he's making a book and he's gonna publish the photos of the cat dying.
And then what looks to be like 4 days later, there's his photo book in the store.
Fast publication.
And it makes no sense. The cat goes missing. She notices the book. She sees the cat on the cover of the book.
She sees his name on the book.
Yeah, but also sees the cat.
Yeah.
Again, 3-4 days later.
Yeah.
And then that really puts her over the edge. They get into an argument.
Not only is the cat in there, the pictures of the cat dying, there's pictures of all the crime scenes he took photos of. So you're allowed to publish that because, these are active cases. Yeah. Clearly the case you just worked on is active. I'm pretty sure
they solved that. They solved it. It was totally solved. It was
I'm
fine.
pretty sure you're not supposed to do that. But yeah, it was that one's a little disjointed for sure.
Bizarre.
But still crazy. Like that was still like a Hitchcock vibe too, but like not my favorite story.
So the whole rest of the story is surprise, surprise. He kills her, does some stuff, hides her in the wall. Everything sort of seems to be fine.
He built a whole new wall.
One of her friends keeps coming around the house.
Which was weird.
What?
She was weird in general, and so were her friends.
Because they were younger.
They were weird,
They were
though.
hip and happening violinists.
They walked in the house. They just let themselves in. Like, he entered the door, and they, like, walked past him. And like, are you sure she's not here? And it was just, there was just weirdness with the friends. Yeah. I felt that was a little awkward, for sure. I don't think it was Dario's strongest story.
Yeah. We're explaining way more of this movie than we probably should, but I think you kind of have to. But it's interesting. I gave the second story, so I gave Black Cat 3 jack-o'-lanterns. Mm-hmm. Again, it was just more of a mess, and we didn't even talk about the ending, but the ending, it just is abrupt, and it's out of nowhere, and it makes no sense why it happens.
Probably because he's a psychopath.
It just ends.
Yeah.
But it's weird. The one highlight of this movie that I really liked, which was sad, was John Amos is in this movie. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, I think he was on Good Times. He was the dad. And then also, he was one of the military guys in Die Hard 2. That does the double cross. And so he passed away like a handful of days before we watched this movie. And he's just a great actor. And
really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would think Black Cat, I would probably give it a 1 star and 4 stars, or mostly a 4, the first one, the facts in the case of Mr. Valdemar. Valdemar?
Waldemar. So sorry, you gave Black Cat how many pumpkins?
Probably one.
Whoa.
Yeah, just because I feel like it was weird and disjointed. And
Yeah.
I don't, again, as much as I'm not thrilled about watching women being tortured, I'm not thrilled about watching cats being murdered and tortured.
Yeah.
So he pretty much tortured that cat, and it was kind of sad.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful cat.
It was.
It was like it really died.
Yes.
It probably did now. But anyway. It's been since 1990. I'm pretty sure he's...
A lot of cats live to be like 34, 35 years old. Yeah. Day number 10. This is where things
turn.
This is where things turn. This is where we started a franchise. Mm-hmm. And so day number 10 was the 2013 horror thriller, The Purge. Now, this is a movie that never was on my list of anything that I wanted to see. And kind of thanks to a Rick and Morty episode about 5 years ago. Well, it's not thanks to that, but that was funny.
I think it stemmed from that, because when we watched Rick and Morty's Purge episode, I laughed my ass off.
Funny violence.
It's funny. And I was like, whoa, they're making a real movie about real Purge?
Right.
That's messed up.
Right.
Like,
right.
And then one night when you were sleeping, I decided to check out a Purge, and I ended up watching Election Year first, not this one.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I guess that was the first one, but I was like, saw more, and I was like, oh, I think I watched the wrong one first, and I should have watched this one first, because that was the first one made, but it's still out of order. The order is so messed up.
So a couple of these movies, this is like their second time actually seeing them.
And I told you, if you're going to watch one, watch the Election Year first, not this one.
Which we didn't do.
Yeah, I just like the Election Year more. But anyway, so we decided to, I kept telling you to watch those two.
Right.
Apparently I've seen 3 of them after watching all these. But you never did. So I was like, okay, I'll just watch them again. We'll make it a part of our 31 days. So that's what we did.
So this concept never really appealed to me because it's not ghosts, it's not vampires, it's not werewolves. It's a little too freaking real.
It's too real at this right time and age right now. I feel like this is.
And watching these movies for me was kind of an emotional roller coaster, because when we started The Purge, like 5 seconds in, I'm like, this movie has Ethan Hawke? Why didn't you tell me this had Ethan Hawke? I'd watch the shit out of that. And he usually picks good movies. Like, he doesn't do a ton of movies, but the stuff that he's in is really kind of great. So I liked the first movie. So I'll set this up. A wealthy family is held hostage for harboring the target of a murdering syndicate during the Purge, a 12-hour period in which any and all crime is legal. So this takes all place in this house. Ethan Hawke's character has been selling security systems. He's sold them to everybody in the neighborhood. He's the number one salesman.
Basically like the storm shutters that electronically come down and lock all your windows and doors. So your house is a fortress at this point.
Yeah. Lots of cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to be safe from the Purge. The Purge has just been happening for years. But it's all well established. It's commonplace.
Let's establish the Purge. When you have the Purge, all crime is legal in level 4 weapons. So anything that's not dynamite, explosives.
Yeah.
I think machine guns are fine.
Yep.
Anything below a level 4 weapon, I guess. All crime.
Yeah.
So tell me, what would you do if all crime was legal? Would you want to murder people, or I would think you'd go after money.
Right. Steal shit.
Murdering, it wouldn't be the first thing in my mind unless there's a revenge
top
thing.
of my list. Not at all.
So this kind of movie misses that a little bit.
Yeah.
There is a lot of murdering going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a slow start for people to do it, but then they encouraged it by sending in their people to encourage it.
Right.
But you think there'd be a lot of rape.
Yep. For sure.
Maybe murder, but more crimey things like breaking into stores, because all of his stuff is legal.
You're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to go to jail.
Not that I want to see rape in it, but I feel like that would happen. Like, a lot of women would be very much tortured in something like this. The psychopaths would definitely come out. None of that was shown in it. I think if they did this in the movie, it'd probably get not good reviews.
Right.
But to me, it wasn't as realistic, but it's too real for America right now.
Right.
But actually too real for all the world because there's a lot of crappy stuff going on.
Yeah. In the context of this movie.
If you watch this movie because it's called The Purge, this isn't the one to watch first. Because they don't really show what you want to see is everyone in the streets
right.
murdering each other. That's election year. The other one.
Right.
This one is focused on the family in general.
So to put this in perspective, in the timeline of the release date, this was the first movie that came out in 2013. But like a lot of successful franchises, they make a movie and it's good, then they start doing prequels. So all of a sudden, and the titles of this are kind of not misleading, but could be confusing. And
I would look up the watch order first.
There's recommendations of a certain watch order.
The first Purge.
And
which might throw you off too.
Yeah.
From watching any more.
So check the dates. There's only 2 of them that maybe you should watch in a certain order because there's a character that's in 2 of the movies. We watched 4 of these Purge movies. It didn't really take anything away that we watched 2 of them in reverse order. It didn't matter.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about other ones later, but just to touch on that real quick, if you want to watch one, watch the election year one first, because that one's my favorite. But this movie, though, is focused on this family in this house.
Which I really like that concept.
Yeah.
And I thought that right there alone was a good story. But then
the neighbors were pissed off at him. He sold him all the security things in his house. He made a shitload of money, and he's had the biggest house on the street. He shows that he's made money off them, and they built this big house right in front of them with all the money they took from him to make.
Which is silly because they're all beautiful houses, but his is now just a little bit bigger.
And they are kind of all seem to have a plan to take him out during the Purge.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's kind of a thing that happens through the storyline, which is revealed in some of the later movies, is that it's a class situation. So
it's
typically the cult is wealthy, controlling white people.
It's very
trying to take out
like a racist situation.
Take out lower economic, which is typically black
homeless
people in this scenario, and the idea that it's not just about killing to wipe out people. There's also a religious aspect, which is you're going to get a fresh start by killing someone.
You'll be reborn. Or
so there's a there's a cult aspect into this, and
it's just a bunch of rich people trying to feel good about themselves.
Right. But then there's a sub-storyline of people that show up at the house that are chasing this guy who the son let into the house because he felt bad for the guy who was out in the streets.
Yes.
And he lets this black man in that we don't know anything about. And the dad is upset.
And then what would you do? Let the guy in? Or if you open up all your doors, you could be setting yourself up to let other people in your house. But the son lets him in and closes everything back. Anyway.
And you see these people outside have got the masks on, which, again, you're going to see these masks at Spirit Halloween. And it's creepy and weird. But I don't know why they didn't just move on. Why did they need to single-handedly get this one guy that was in the house? Yeah, there's lots of people out there that they could have
And he was just
killed.
like a random homeless man, I think, right? So if they could have just moved on.
Right.
Yeah.
But the acting, I think, is pretty good. Also, there's a sub-storyline of the daughter's boyfriend sneaks back into the house before the lockdown, and he wants to tell the father, and he's a little bit older than the daughter, but he actually has an alternative motive. Makes it sound like he's trying to get the dad's permission, but it turns out
dad doesn't like him.
Dad doesn't like him, but he turns out he's actually there to kill the dad, and he's going to date the daughter still. Sure, that could happen.
I killed your dad, but we'll still date.
Yeah, exactly. That old story.
That's well thought out there.
Yeah,
real winner.
So what did you? Oh, let me ask you this before you give me your score. What did you think of this movie now watching it for the second time?
I like this one. I just don't think it was my favorite one. Because when you go watch The Purge, you expect to see people everywhere running around just randomly killing people. And that's what like election year was. So if you're watching it because you want to see The Purge, I don't think this is the one to start with. I did like it, though. Actually, what did I rate it? I rated this one a 3 because it was a good story. When the rich kids decided to ram their house to get the guy inside they want to kill, somehow all the windows were open, and they were all jumping in from every window. So that didn't make any sense. But little mess ups there they could have thought more about. It's not like they knew the code to open it, so I don't know why they would do that. But it's good. I gave it a 3, and I don't recommend it as the first one though. So
I thought I was surprised because in my mind the Purge was exactly that. All of America, it's okay to kill somebody this one night, and then
once a year.
Surprised that this was just a smaller story that took place, and so I was really into the story. There was moments like you're describing where I'm just like, well, that's stupid. Come on, how did they get in the house? How did they climb through the windows?
This is the first Purge that ever came out. Can you imagine going to the movies thinking you're going to see the Purge and a bunch of people killing each other, and then you end up with one single storyline?
But you wouldn't have. The other movies wouldn't have been in existence yet, so you wouldn't have known.
Well, I know, but when you first make a Purge, wouldn't you want to start it off?
Yeah.
Where the one called The First Purge, that should have been the very first movie, but that was done in 2018, and this was done in 2013.
Yeah.
So maybe in 2018, they're like, oh, we probably should have did this first. I bet you this had backlash when it came out because it wasn't what people were hoping it would be.
I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. But I mean, context is everything. You would have seen the trailer. The trailer would have been thing, and it would have been what it was.
It took them 5 years to put out another one.
No, 2014.
2014
was the next movie chronologically.
I said 2013 and 2018.
Yeah, but the Purge Anarchy is 2014 because Anarchy takes place before election year.
Anarchy was 2014.
Yep.
There was a television show from 2018 to 2019, which we didn't watch.
Yep.
The Purge is 2013. Election year 2016.
Yep.
And the first Purge 2018.
Yeah. So
you have the right dates.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just seems like they should have did the first Purge first, which would then it would show a little bit of that, but it still wasn't strong enough for me if you're expecting the Purge.
Right.
Yeah, it's very cultural. It's all, as we see going through the rest of these movies, it starts to become like a cult of rich people.
Yes.
I kind of feel like a Freemasons kind of situation.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But like men and women. And yeah, because I think in Freemasons, don't they reenact the murder of someone?
Yeah, there's some ceremonial stuff in there.
There's some very ceremonial stuff. So anyway, we'll talk about those in the other purges so they won't. Yeah.
Let's get into, because it's hard to talk about one movie without explaining the context and without touching on the other movies.
Yeah,
but
that's why I feel like we're going to end up talking about all 4 of these movies.
Yeah. And there's actually a 5th, and as you said, there's a TV series. We didn't watch all 5 movies. We got tired.
I was bored of watching Purging.
We purged the Purge.
We purged the Purge. Yeah. I feel like we got exhausted of the same thing. So I gave it 3 jack-o'-lanterns.
So did I.
Because I thought it was good. Like you seem to be pretty thrilled that one of your favorite actors are in it.
I was into it. I thought it was a decent story. I think it was a great story. I enjoyed it.
It was a good thriller.
Why I didn't give it a 4 or 5, I guess there was just little things. Plus, it's sort of like...
Because you expected the Purge, and it wasn't...
No, I was pleasantly surprised because I thought...
But when you thought of the Purge when it first came out, would you think that just people everywhere...
People nuts. People going crazy.
Nuts. That's what... I would have been pissed going to the movies and not seeing that.
Which...
For the first movie ever, really, I would be pissed.
But it's hard to know what my mindset would have been in. Because
my mindset is, it better be like Rick and Morty. That's my mindset.
Which was the first introduction to it, where they were just going apeshit.
Now, did that episode come after the Purge?
I'm sure. We'd have to look it up. I think it's probably well after.
I know it's based on another movie, I thought.
Yeah.
I read somewhere. But yeah, anyway, I gave it 3 jack-o'-lanterns. You gave it...
3.
Okay. So I think that's pretty fair for the episode.
But it's funny because I liked it more than I thought I would because it was a smaller story. Getting to day 11, the first Purge. Mm-hmm. This came out in 2018. So chronologically, this is the 4th movie. Mm-hmm. This is them going
But
back.
should be the first one you watch.
Right.
Yes.
Because this goes back story-wise, yes, but this movie's not good, so don't even watch it. But so the first Purge, 2018, is still a horror thriller. This is basically America's third political party, the new founding fathers of America, comes to power and conducts an experiment. No laws for 12 hours on Staten Island. No one has to stay on the island, but $5,000 is given to anyone who does.
And they interview people.
They're interviewing two different types of people. They're basically locking down Staten Island. If you want to stay, you're going to get $5,000. That's very appealing to a lot of people. Need some cash.
Yeah.
Then they're also interviewing other people, asking them, do you want to do harm to anybody?
Or do you have the urge to release?
Right.
They're thinking if they can let criminals release their aggression,
anger, tension,
and tension, that they would feel better and they wouldn't want to do it again. But that's just not right.
And they clearly,
once they get that killing, it's like getting a tattoo. Once you get one, you want more.
Right.
So
right.
Same thing.
Right. Exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
So they have people, there's clearly people in prison that they're letting out onto the street. There's other people that are just regular people that maybe you're just sort of pissed off in the situation, maybe need some money. And so like, if you want to go and join the Purge, we're going to give you this little kit.
Yeah.
It's got contact lenses.
Oh yeah. It's sort of a sci-fi.
You'll be able to, this will transmit what you're seeing. Mm-hmm. And I think they even said anybody that you kill, you'll actually get money.
Yeah.
I feel like that was said.
I feel like bonus points, like a video game.
Yeah.
Basically.
So
the contact lenses are for that people can watch it around the world.
Right.
Basically, and show them that it's working.
And so behind the scenes, in addition to the new founding fathers, there's people that have set all of this stuff up. Mm-hmm. And they keep calling it the experiment. So one night, let's see what happens. What's her face, who played Spider-Man's aunt, is in this movie, and she's kind of the lead.
Oh, yeah.
She was also on Seinfeld.
Marissa
Tomei. Thank you.
Torme.
So she's in it. She's got another person with her who he's a little bit more mysterious.
She's running the program, but so is he.
He's running all of the stuff behind. Like there's basically
he's doing some shady stuff. Yeah. He's starting the cult.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Does this movie have the drug dealer in it?
Yeah, there was a lot of drug stuff, I think.
Okay, so the gang, we're
merging the movies together. There might be a drug deal situation.
This is right. Okay, so there's a bit of a drug dealing criminal element. Mm-hmm. They're like, we want no part of the Purge because that's going to disrupt sales.
Yeah.
However, they end up getting into it. This one guy ends up kind of being like the hero of the day. The people that are left behind think that they're going to be safe if they go to the church. Mm-hmm. They're wrong. The church becomes a target. Then also, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, they released one psychopath criminal.
Yeah.
That he was like, his name was, what was his name? Something like Candyman, but not. Terminator?
No.
Was it Terminator?
No.
They had a really good name for him.
Yeah.
And so let's just say
was it Skeletor?
Skeletor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just say it's in the hood, basically.
Yeah.
And they released Skeletor. He has scars in his face. He's really freaking crazy, and they want him to go out and like purge.
And
they're like, this guy will definitely do what we want him to do.
Right.
And he actually did the first purge ever. So, and he actually killed a guy who was doing what I thought you would do on a purge is, he was trying
randomly kill motherfuckers.
No, he was trying to break into an ATM machine.
Oh, right.
And he killed him at the ATM machine.
Right. Yeah.
The kid had no reason. He didn't want to like murder. He just wanted to get some money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did the first purge.
Yeah.
So, and then there was another kid who wanted to kill Skeletor. He was only purging. He was only purged because he wants to kill Skeletor.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like drug stuff, like gangs and stuff.
Yeah. Somebody wants to take out the main drug dealer.
Yeah, it's a lot of levels. People,
yeah.
It's like their own little world right now. Who's the leader and who's gonna kill? And some people just chose to party.
Right.
They would throw like a giant street party, which was confusing to the government
Right.
people because they were like shocked. They're like, why is no one killing people? They're just having a street party.
Yeah.
So, and of course, Skeletor kills everyone in the street party. But anyway.
So there's another thing, the sub-storyline that happens here. So you've got the experiment where Marissa Tomei's character actually thinks people are going to behave a certain way, and then they're not. And then there's her partner that is like, well, people aren't doing it yet.
Well, coworker.
It's time to release the hounds. And that's when we start seeing like some people.
Yeah, they were kind of like a Blackwater situation. Yeah. They kind of released them. They're like, well, worst case, we'll bring in our own people, and they'll go take people out.
Right.
And they'll kind of kickstart the murdering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when all of a sudden they start going into buildings, and floor by floor are basically just starting to take everybody out.
Wiping out like low income buildings, like, which is just horrific to even. To even make a movie about that.
Yeah. And so that's where things like really actually start getting uncomfortable. Again,
it's too real.
You start basically...
It's very racial driven.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's where when I started to really... I mean, the movie's not shying away from that. It really is spelling that out. No, and that's where it really is like, this is becoming too real, and this is kind of shitty, and it's just uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, and that's where some of the other movies come in later. We'll talk about that after the next one.
That's the overall arching storyline for the remainder of these movies.
Yeah.
So I gave this movie 2 jack-o'-lanterns.
I gave it 2 as well. Because there were some good parts about it, but still not my favorite Purge. Which is kind of weird to say.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite Purge. So.
Well, you kind of have to, I mean, we get wrapped up into movies.
It is the one you should watch first. Yeah, we do get wrapped up, and you got to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not my favorite.
But it's also, again, not vampires, not distant. It's not an escape. If you're looking to an escape and be entertained, this didn't do it for me at all. This is just gets uncomfortable.
Well, in this on Rotten Tomatoes got a 56%. And the first Purge, the one we talked about before, was a 40%.
Okay.
So
yeah, those movies don't really score well.
So it jumped up a little bit because it was an actual Purge, or kind of starting to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So sorry, you gave it a 2 as well. So we both scored it a 2.
I gave it a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to day 12. This is the one that you said we watched out of order. Again,
my favorite one.
A little bit more entertaining. This one's called The Purge Election Year. Came out in 2016.
I think because it had more of a storyline. It was kind of like a rebellion.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to read the storyline?
Yeah. So former police sergeant Barnes becomes head of security for Senator Charlie Rowan, a presidential candidate targeted for death on Purge-night due to her vow to eliminate the Purge. So this movie, different view, more of a political storyline.
And a rebellion.
You've got, and I kind of really liked the Sergeant Barnes character. He's the one that's in the other movie as well, the Purge Anarchy, which happened 2 years before.
And there's more shocking things in this one.
Yeah.
Like they had the thing that cuts off your head. What's that called?
Guillotine.
They had a guillotine in an alleyway. They were just randomly throwing people in.
You just assemble that, I guess.
You just buy it off Amazon.
Oh, we should also point out,
this
movie also indicates that the Purge has been on for at least 18 years. Charlie Rowan, the senator, she, at the beginning of the movie, they show her with her family on a couch, and somebody kills the entire family with the exception of her. And now, later on, she's now a senator running for president. She's going to end the Purge. So, interesting story.
So they're trying to protect her.
Right.
Like they have people in her house. They do the storm shutter lockdown situation, and she's what they thought was safe.
Right.
But
meanwhile, you've got the actor that played Detective Tim Bayliss on Homicide: Life in the Streets, playing the other presidential candidate, and turns out he's a bit of a sleazeball. Great actor. Loved him in Homicide. He's great in this. And he's involved in some stuff. He's part of that cult. He's part of this stuff. They want to keep the Purge going. They want to, I think also in this movie, this is where they state, crime is down. The
Yeah.
purge works. This is why we've got to do it. And then the cult side of it is you got to pure yourself. You got to cleanse yourself. And this is why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, you really see that separation. Plus,
This one,
this is this where they also introduced the guy that owns the store.
yes. But I was going to say that this is the purge that gives you what you want in a purge.
Right.
The costumes, it's kind of like with that video game, Fortnite,
Okay.
where people run around in costumes and they,
Right.
it's very much Fortnite.
Yeah.
Basically, I never played Fortnite, but I know I've seen it enough to know that this is very much like that. The costumes and everything.
Grand Theft
More
Auto.
young kids are involved. Like there's a group of girls that wear masks and they're dressed all sexy hot with like a gold machine gun, and they're just, you know, when they're walking down the street, they're just like badass kind of thing, but they're not. They're just idiots. But like
Early in the movie, they're at a a guy's like corner store.
Corner store, yeah.
He busts them shoplifting. They basically say,
And
"Hey,
crime's down, so they're
you're
still
gonna,
shoplifting."
you're
Yeah.
gonna, we're gonna make you pay. We're coming back."
She gave him the look like the purge was like hours away.
Right.
So she gave him the look like, I'm coming back for you.
Then there's some characters in that business. They're all good. Basically, he decides, well, the store is all that I have, and I'm not going to let anybody burn it down or do anything. So I'm going to stay here and protect what I own.
Yeah.
And then there's another character where she basically is like a medic, and
She's untouchable apparently.
Yeah.
But also is the year they said even government officials weren't off the purge list. Like they used to be blocked from being purged.
Right.
So, and to also know in the purge, no police or ambulances will ever be called. They won't be responding to any calls until after the 12-hour purge. Right. So, but she was kind of like a rebellion, the woman you're talking about.
Right.
She would help people
Yeah.
in trouble. And they'd bring them to this underground place where all these people are, and doctors and stuff are underground helping people.
Right.
So there's this big rebellion building up underground, and they'll all come out and fight people and get people to safety.
Right.
So you can see this is the uplift you need to get out of something like this ridiculous purge.
Right.
There's also, you forgot this part, where it's become a tourist attraction to go to America during a purge. So people from other countries came in.
Right.
And dressed up with like president's mask on.
Right.
To purge. And of course they were killed instantly. So,
right.
Yeah. So they were like, this is our vacation. They're on the news. We came to purge. We're going to purge. And so they were just like, America, fuck yeah. And
right.
Like,
yeah.
So, so that was funny that they came and then they died pretty instantly. They didn't last very long. But the costumes are good in this. Like everyone has like this weird set of group of people where they decided to dress up, and even their cars.
Right.
But the killing was something else in this one. They had women strapped to vehicles.
Yes.
And driving around and slamming them into walls. Like it was just insane. I guess it's kind of like that. What's that movie my mom watches? It's the only horror film she'll watch. We're just Final Destination kind of situations in a way, but I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much storyline in this one that it's hard to explain everything.
But I think it's the one that has a little bit more complicated storyline. It's the most interesting storyline of the movies. I'm curious to know what you scored it at.
Can I say this first? I have the trailer like looping in front of me, and it said this July 4th. Like it.
Oh, wow.
It came out on July 4th.
Perfect.
God.
Yeah.
America. So the Purge election year, I would say this is a definite watch if you're interested in any of the purges. And I give it 4 pumpkins.
Wow.
I'll probably never give a purge a 5 just because it's so fucked up.
You ever thought you'd say that?
Yeah. I'd probably never give the purge a 5. And, yeah. So, and the next one that comes up is my other somewhat favorite one. I forgot that I like that one.
Okay, so I gave this 3 jack-o'-lanterns. It's funny. What did I give the
2
original Purge?
Oh, 3.
A 3.
You gave election years 3 a 2?
A 3 is the highest score I've given any of the Purges.
Well, I gave this one a 4 because it had what you wanted in a Purge movie.
Yeah.
If you were going to watch a movie, it's called The Purge, and it's people killing each other for 12 hours. this is what you expect.
This is what you get.
This is what you expect.
Yeah.
So this is going to give you what you expect to see in a Purge movie.
The last one that we watched is called The Purge. Anarchy came out in 2014. This is the one that you should probably watch before election year. 3 groups of people intertwine and are left stranded in the streets on Purge-night, trying to survive the chaos and violence that occurs.
Yes, and this one is where they collected people and sold them to rich people.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so
the one guy, the cop that's in both
of
them, he's in this one too. This is
right.
He's the one who helped the people, and he was out for his own revenge.
Okay, and so right. So at the beginning of this movie, there's a couple that are in a car. They're driving. Their car breaks down. They're trying to get somewhere where the purge isn't happening. But they get stuck in like downtown wherever.
Yeah.
Washington, I guess.
Like they were just downtown city. I don't know where.
Well, it must be Washington because it's the same.
It might be, but their car broke down, but it didn't break down. So when they were in the city, it was hours before the purge starts.
Right.
I would never be anywhere a purge is about to start hours before.
But also, wasn't the purge happening everywhere, all over America?
It was, but you need to get to safety where you think you're safe.
Yeah.
And the city is where most of the purging happens. So why would you even attempt to go to the city for the day on the day of when the purge is starting in hours?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So why would you wait to the last few minutes to leave?
Get your freaking ass to Canada.
So they were going to the car and they saw a group of gang just waiting it out before the clock hit go.
Right.
And they were just looking at him like slapping their weapons and going, coming for you. Like they just gave him the look.
Okay.
It's kind of the reverse of what was been happening about racism in the other ones where they were getting back at the white people.
Right.
So anyway.
Right. Okay. Okay. So then
they cut a line, like their brakes or something. They cut something in their car where they would break down.
Right.
So, and then of course they went down the street and saw them.
Right.
And then after that they were running.
Right. So then the other story is there's a couple of waitresses that work in a diner.
The other story was the mother-daughter.
Right.
They were going to stay in their apartment the whole night, but then this is when they were killing building by building again.
Right.
Of lower income people.
This is the one that really establishes there's other stuff at play. There's a whole group of the Black Army or Blackwater kind of militia.
But they're
funded. Yeah, there's 18-wheelers driving around
with a guy with a machine gun in the back.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like this cult guy.
Yeah.
And has his peons doing his stuff for him.
And there's more of the people just flooding buildings with heavily armed people that are
just
going
taking
in
out.
to
It's
take
almost
out
like they were
people.
doing it for development and getting rid of the people that they didn't have to deal with.
Yeah.
So this was a sad one as well.
Which really contradicts that idea that certain people are killing people for this religious kind of aspect, and then at the same time, we'll just go wipe out that neighborhood.
Yeah.
While we're doing our little ceremony.
Yeah.
So it's weird, but
there was also a group of people who weren't out purging, but they were collecting people.
Yeah.
And selling them to the rich cult.
Right.
So they can bid on purging this person, in like a on stage situation.
Yeah.
Actually, no, they weren't on stage purging them. They would bid for them and then put them in a room all together, kind of like a laser tag situation. And it was all dark, but they had glasses to see them, but they couldn't see anything. So they were chasing them, and it was like a hunting game for these rich people. And of course that they fought back because the cop took on the couple that broke down and also the mother-daughter. He took them with him.
Yeah.
He didn't want them, but then he couldn't leave them behind, so he just ended up taking care of them.
Yeah.
And of course, the husband and wife who broke down, he did nothing. He was absolutely
Then it's
showed
also
no effort.
And also somewhere along the line, it's also revealed that Sergeant, whatever his name is, he had his own agenda.
Yeah.
So he wasn't just out there helping people. He actually had a plan to go and purge.
Which he's against the purge, but he lost a son to a drunk driver.
Yeah.
Not during the purge, but just to a drunk driver.
Yeah.
The guy got off.
Yeah.
So he was going to purge the man who did it And of course, he went to go do it and couldn't do it.
Right.
So he had him on the ground. He was ready to do it. He just couldn't do it.
Right.
So, yeah. So, yeah, it ended really interesting, too, because that was towards the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And as he was walking out of the house and saying I wasn't going to do it, he was going to go get back in the car with the woman and the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he got shot by the 18-wheeler group of gang.
Magically found him
and
again.
And they were coming around the corner to kill him even more so, because the mother and daughter, they were helping him because he was down. And then the purge ended, because if it lasted any longer, they probably would have been shot.
Right.
So they just got saved by the ending of the purge. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff happens in this movie. It's kind of hard to explain it all, but there's so much that happens. I'm just looking at the trailer again as it's looping, and like they're driving down the street and it's just a woman is standing there all bloody in the streets, just shocked.
Right.
Like it's pretty, I would say it's like a suspense or an action, thriller, sci-fi, it says. So messed up.
Something that just occurred to me while you were talking about it was the fact that because we watched all these movies back to back, like 4 nights in a row, like it was pretty intense. And I wonder if watching these movies, spaced out by a year, it would be a little bit less impactful. Like watching these back to back was just pretty intense. It was pretty awful. Like I said, there's a 5th movie that we just couldn't even do anymore. Not that it was probably more brutal than anything else.
I think we're just exhausted from the idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's hard to really gauge, but
I'm so glad we watched them. This is my second time around watching, because apparently I've seen 3 of the 4 before, because I just went on a weird rampage in the middle of the night watching these.
So what did you score the Purge Anarchy?
The Purge Anarchy was a 4. Like
Really?
I said, I'm never going to give... The Election Year and Anarchy were my favorite ones because there was more storyline. There was a lot of fight back, a lot of rebellion. Both of these had the good versus the bad people.
Right.
So versus the other 2 were just, But these were the 2 stronger purges to me, the Election Year and Anarchy. And that's why they got 4 stars each. And I'll probably never give the Purge a 5-star.
No.
Like I said. So yeah. What did you give it?
I gave it 3 jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. You gave the first Purge a 3.
I gave all of them a 3 with the exception of the first Purge, which I gave a 2.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know why I gave that one. I guess you're right. The last 2 that we watched, more interesting stories. I think my mindset when we watched that second one, the first Purge, I was so pulled. Something really detached me from the movie. Like my own inner discovery of like, this is too real. This is happening in parts of the world that I'm not. I can't. I'm no longer just watching a movie for entertainment value, or not even entertainment value. I'm not. I couldn't separate the movie from real life. It was too.
What do you think? It's like
much.
Putting ideas into people's heads for like.
Not just that, but like.
Yeah.
It's that, wow, this could really happen in America, and then I was like, oh no, like places like the Ukraine and other places, like there's shit going on right now that's really awful. This shouldn't be entertainment.
It shouldn't.
What I'm watching.
No.
And then by the time we got to these other movies, I just had enough.
Yeah, we were both exhausted from the Purge.
Yeah.
I'm glad we watched them, but I can't believe I watched 3 of them twice now.
Yeah.
Only for the sake that I wanted you to see them.
Yeah.
So we can talk about it.
So let's retire the Purge. Let's never talk about it again.
Purge the Purge.
Yeah.
Well, if you did want to go, like I said, watch Election Year and Anarchy, and you can be done with it.
Yeah.
Skip the TV show and the Forever Purge.
Yeah. Let's get on to day 14. We picked this movie because we were on Shudder, and you saw this picture right here, and it was like, yeah, this seems like not just the complete opposite of the Purge, but there was something about this image that just looked great. And I'm talking about 1982's Night Beast. This is a horror sci-fi. A creature from outer space crash lands in a small town and starts killing people.
The poster is what sold me on it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And there's lasers in the trailer. It actually has the opening credits of like Knight Rider. It is so cheesy and so amazing.
And exactly what we needed.
Exactly what we haven't had yet. It's so stupid. This is one of those things where there's absolutely no real storyline, but there is, but it's just dumb. The creature from space looks like a gorilla with the vampire teeth.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. And he has a laser and he shoots like a stormtrooper. Like, it's pretty funny.
And the laser makes no sense because sometimes he's really good at it and people vaporize. He shoots a car with somebody in it. The whole car vaporizes, but then he shoots a concrete wall and it just sparks. Like, there's no rhyme or reason for the differences between these things.
Yeah.
And then all of the small town, like the sheriff and people and like neighborhood people are just like kind of helping him out. They can't beat him, but they shoot the laser.
Yeah.
And now it's just basically like Wolfman on the loose.
This is just a fun watch. Like, it does have some boobage and some sexy time.
Has some.
The poster itself indicates there's some nudity.
Yeah.
Because it has his laser pointing at their two bodies making out naked in the poster. So when you see the poster, you see what I mean. But it has like the laser pointing at the poster is just amazing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this is kind of maybe a culty thing, but it's really something.
It's a fun movie. It's not a great movie. It's a 1982 low budget sci-fi
but
kind
I
of
like
thing.
dumb shit.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I like.
And it was exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
We're laughing. It's funny. There was some 70s porn kind of feel to this movie.
Oh, yeah. I swear to God, all the female actors used to be porn stars.
Yeah.
Or they hired some porn stars to do the scenes.
There's definitely some porn mustaches and afros
all
in this
the
thing.
afros are in this.
And it's
all of them.
It's an enjoyable watch.
It's a fun watch. If you like really crazy, funny horror films, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just what you need after watching all the Purges.
What's so funny is how, and it's probably because it was such a counter to what we'd watch the entire 4 days prior to that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I just saw my notes.
Okay.
And I have something that you forgot and we both forgot.
Okay.
First of all, this was J.J. Abrams' first film.
Oh my God. Not his first film. First film he worked on.
First film he worked on. His first screen credit, he was 16. Abrams became aware of Don Dollar, which is the guy who made this film, from letter articles in a local firm magazine, Cinematic. I guess the magazine's called Cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
I should have gotten my glasses because I don't have them. Okay, both him and J.J. Abrams have been talking.
Yeah.
And Dollar asked him to make the music for this film. And so J.J. Abrams, 16 years old, in probably his bedroom, after school, did the music for this movie. So we had to music through the sex scenes and so he sent the tape off in the mail, and this is where it all came from. And I have to say, he did a great job.
He did a great job.
So I almost let this slide until I looked at my notes.
God, I'm so glad you remembered that.
Yeah.
Or noted that.
So this film, he's from Baltimore, the Don Dollar.
Mm-hmm.
He does an update on his 1975 film, The Alien Factor. This time, only a single alien, reptilian-looking, crash-landed near a small town and going on a rampage. So he's done this movie before, but with lots of them.
Interesting.
He wanted just a single alien coming down. So it's not the first Night Beast, but it's called The Alien Factor.
So is there another version of Night Beast we can watch?
It's called The Alien Factor.
Okay, maybe we should look that up.
Apparently it's a lot more of them.
Well...
So
maybe we float that through our list too and see if we can find it.
Yeah, but the fact that we found a movie that J.J. Abrams did his first movie work on it.
Right, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
If I ever meet J.J. Abrams, I'm going to bring up Night Beast.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
I don't care about any of the other stuff you've done.
Yeah.
Night Beast.
But I just like the idea of like, Mom, I'm going to score a movie. Oh, that's great, JJ. Nice work. Go up in his bedroom, and then the mom walks in. It's like, JJ, what are you watching? And it's, Mom, I'm just doing, it's the movie I'm scoring. It's like, turn that filth off.
Who's scoring? You or the people of the movie?
That's right.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I have to ask him that question one day because that's pretty funny. So I gave it 3 jack-o'-lanterns because I think it was a great after Purge movie. It was just silly and stupid, and the fact that I learned that J.J. Abrams did the music, which still holds up, still really good.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm glad we watched it. I'm glad it's now in my knowledge.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I live off these stupid movies like this. Like there's a movie called The Beach, which the sand eats people on the beach. So you can imagine how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to ruin that for you. Go watch The Beach.
Yeah, The Beach is
It's
great.
like from the 70s or 60s or something.
Yeah.
You have to go watch The Beach.
It's a classic B movie.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I just love dumb movies, and this was one of them. And I don't care if the quality is not there. I just think it's amazing.
Right. I gave Night Beast 4 jack-o'-lanterns for the same reasons.
I'm not going to argue with them.
It was, I think I'm very, very generous with this score, but it brought me complete joy.
You didn't nap?
Complete joy. I didn't fall asleep. And the music was great. And that little bonus thing about J.J. Abrams is pretty awesome. So just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's cheesy. It's fun. It's good, bad movie. Into the home stretch here.
Yes.
We're moving on to day 15, and this is Oddity from 2024, horror thriller. A psychic medium attempts to uncover the truth behind her sister's murder at the site of the crime. Interesting movie. Right out of the gate, I gave this movie 5 jack-o'-lanterns.
I gave it a 4.
Okay.
Only because it was predictable for me.
Okay.
So, but it did creep me. It did have all the creeps I needed I like a good spooky, ghosty situation, even if it's not ghosty. I just like a good spooky thriller.
Yeah.
I think when you watch a movie, when you don't see what's happening or you don't know, I think is more scary than seeing it happen to me.
I don't think there's any gore in this movie, right?
No, there is. When the guy got killed, the guy in the door in the mental institution. So,
right.
Yeah.
The one. So there you go. Spooky, scary movie, not gory,
but freakish. Like it'll scare you.
Yes,
it'll give you the proper scare you need in a horror film.
Yeah.
Like I don't think killing people is a proper scare for me. I want something to scare me that's non-existent, like a ghost or like something so messed up. Like I need that scare, haunted house, whatever.
Yeah.
I just like those are
That's
what
you
scares
enjoy.
me. Yes. Yeah. So this was up there, and I'm glad we watched it.
This isn't one I want to spoil.
No, because it's too new.
Watch the trailer because that's really the beginning of this movie, and
I feel like you should show that guy in the doorway at the beginning.
It's
he's just
good.
creaking through the door with a one eye situation, and she's like, "Let me in. You have someone in your house."
Right.
Someone's in your house.
Is that in the trailer?
Yeah.
It is, right? So I think
someone's in your house. Let me in so I can help you. And she's not letting him in.
And I think the less you know about this movie, the better. And I almost don't want to even really get into it because I think there's an enjoyment. You figured out some things watching it a little bit earlier than I did.
Yeah.
Again, this was like, of these 15 days, this was a movie that I thought was really well executed. I was on edge. I was creepy. I got the tingles throughout my body watching it.
It was a great end to our 15 days.
Cut
off for the next. Yeah, it was a good.
Absolutely.
It's definitely. It just said it. It's very unsettling. I will say though, the sister brings in a wooden doll thing that she gives to the husband or her sister's husband, and it is creepy.
It is very creepy.
It's creepy when you set it in a chair.
Yeah.
And then you're upstairs and you look down on it and it looks up at you.
Right.
That's fucking scary, man. No way. I would leave right then and there.
Is all of that stuff in the trailer too?
Yeah, there's some stuff in there.
Okay.
But it's pretty creepy. Yeah. I love it. It was good. Only thing disappointed me was that I figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it was still good. I gave it a 4 jack-o'-lanterns.
Cool.
Yeah. 5 stars.
What do you think took off a jack-o'-lantern?
Because I guessed it fairly early on.
Okay.
I guessed what it was fairly early on.
So I didn't guess it, but there was a couple moments where it was just like, oh, that guy. Oh.
Yeah, you were like, it got you, but
yeah.
I figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah. And for that, and again, the capper, based on all of the stuff that we watch, I thought this was I think I said it. They're the most well-crafted story.
Yeah, it was good. And it was a great ending, like I said, to our 15-day
of madness. Well, not madness, of horror movies.
What a wild
Halloween.
ride the first 15 days
yeah,
were.
It's great.
So, it was good.
I should also point out, as we're wrapping up here, this is about the 4th year that we've done this. We've filmed videos in the past, but just sort of fizzled out. Mm-hmm. So this year we're not going to do that. Mm-hmm. We are going to include in the description all of the movies that we watched last year, because there were some gems in there and things that I think you should watch. So we're going to put our ratings on those as well. And I would encourage you to get into the comments and let us know what you think of all of the movies that we watch, because we'd love to.
And we have some reviews on video on YouTube of partial years, because just life gets in the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we enjoyed doing those.
And those were like from 2 or 3 years ago. And those are like 7 day viewings.
Were they 7 movies. Or were they 14?
They were 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think last year's we had a good run last year on movies. So we'll definitely include the list below.
Yeah.
From 2023, because then we can put the ones we recommend.
Right.
If you're doing 31 days or whatever. Yeah. You don't have to watch them in October. You can watch them at Christmas.
Anytime.
Some of them were Christmas movies.
Oh, what was that?
The Santa one.
What was that Santa one called? Deadly Christmas or something like that.
Something.
Yeah.
It was good.
We'll put it in the comments.
Yeah. I would probably watch that at Christmas again.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So that was our first 15 days. We've got more coming. We're still watching. We've given you a couple of hints of what we've watched. If you follow Hey Weirdos on Instagram, you can see every day we're posting what it is that we are watching. So depending on when I post this, hopefully I will get this posted before the end of the month. And then we will get the part 2, the videos 16 through 31 up in the first week of November.
And hopefully faster reviewing them. But there's so much to talk about in each one. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably should have done like half of this in 1 week, but it's too much for us to do it.
Yeah.
In that amount of time. So just
doing what we can with our day job. So
yeah.
But thank you for watching. And again, as I said all the way through, really appreciate it if you would write a comment. Even just top in a little like emoticon of a slasher knife or something like that.
Yeah.
Just helps us, helps with the algorithm. And if you have real comment, please do so. Comment. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like.
And actually put a little knife emoji in there if you watch this all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's all for now. That was a lot. But thanks for watching. And until next time, goodbye humans.